Owner Daniel Snyder and team president Bruce Allen have not been accused of harassment, but some of the women claim it was unlikely that Snyder and Allen had no idea what was going on in terms of all this behavior. Head coach Ron Rivera released this statement after the story broke. The biggest thing is that we have to move forward from this and make sure everybody understands we have policies that we will follow and that we have an open door policy with no retribution. Plus, my daughter works for the team, and I sure as hell am not going to allow any of this. These matters, as reported, are serious, disturbing, and contrary to the NFL's values. Everyone in the NFL has the right to work in an environment free from any and all forms of harassment. Washington has engaged outside counsel to conduct a thorough investigation into these allegations. The club has pledged that it will give its full cooperation to the investigator, and we expect the club and all employees to do so. We will meet with the attorneys upon the conclusion of their investigation and take any action based on the findings. All right, Adam Schefter, I want to start with you here. Ron Rivera has already commented on the allegations on this investigation, but crazy thing is we have yet to hear from owner Dan Snyder. So what can or should we expect from Dan Snyder?
Has to respond to these charges and allegations that the Washington Post issued yesterday. He has no choice but to address this. This has been in his organization, allegedly. This is something that is embarrassing. This is something that's unacceptable. This is something that he has to address. He can't sit silent on this issue. There are so many issues that Dan Snyder has had so many people like Bruce Allen or Ron Rivera speak up for him in the past. But this is his organization, and his organization did things that are unacceptable in today's world. And so the man at the top has no choice in my mind but to address these allegations today and talk about how sickened and disgusted so many people are by them. And let's see what he does have to say. I expect that he will say something. I expect he will issue a statement today. And again, we'll see what he decides to say when he does that. Charlie?
Well, that absolutely should happen, Adam. Another question I want to ask you is, what do you make of the league's statement on letting the law firm the team hired do its investigation before the league even steps in?
Listen, the NFL knew that the Washington NFL team was hiring Beth Wilkinson, a respected attorney in the Washington, D.C. area, to take a deep dive into the organization's culture and to determine all the things that have gone wrong there. It is up to her to launch that investigation, make sure it's thorough, to report her findings back to the NFL. And the NFL at that point in time can decide to take action. But the truth of the matter is, do we need the NFL to go issue $1 million fine or whatever it may be? Do we need the NFL to take away some mid-round draft pick to really have change that should be something that is just expected and common and decent? The NFL needs to rule on it. I understand it. I got it. But the fact of the matter is, it should not take a governing body in New York to make the Washington NFL franchise fall into line with the acceptable norms of today's society. Again, it's up to Washington to get this straight. They have a head coach that is determined to do that. He's trying to change that culture. We'll see if he can do that. He's trying to overcome a long time where this organization has done things like this or embarrassed itself in one form or another. And we'll see what Beth Wilkinson, the attorney, investigates, what she comes up with, and what changes that Dan Snyder decides to enact for this organization.
Well, continuing on that same thought, Adam, given the laundry list of problems the Redskins have encountered, this recent investigation, all the allegations, what punishment should the Redskins be looking at as well as Dan Snyder?
Again, to me, it's secondary. I know the NFL could wind up taking action and disciplining the Redskins in a severe way. That's fine. Again, that's empty to me. That's hollow to me. What is the Washington organization going to do to police itself? Is it capable of policing itself, or does it need a babysitter in New York to step in and say, we're fining you, and we're taking away a draft pick, and we're suspending the owner, or whatever we're doing to try to right this wrong that has been perpetuated within this organization for a long period of time? It shouldn't come to that in this day and age. Don't we all know better? Don't we expect better? Don't we deserve better? It's ridiculous to think that the NFL would have to step in. It's the NFL's job. It will do what it feels is necessary based off the investigation that Beth Wilkinson launches and what she uncovers. The fact of the matter is, from a basic human decency standpoint, let's get this right.
They need to get it right. I think you're absolutely right. Adam, thank you so much for your insight. We'll be waiting for more developments as this whole investigation unfolds. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Domonique, why don't we start with you here? What's your reaction to what has unfolded in these past 24 hours?
Yeah, I think everything that Adam said was right, and they do need to get it right, but we have no reason to believe that they will get it right. They have a kind of a long history in that franchise. Some of it is rumor, and some of it are things that actually have been reported and seem to be fact. And you can go all the way back to the story that was written in 2018 about the 2013 trip that the cheerleaders took to Costa Rica, where they had the cheerleaders taking part in topless photo shoots, and they allowed people who paid for suites to walk around and view the cheerleaders during that process. Ugh. Some of the cheerleaders reported that they stood up to create barricades so that the suite holders couldn't see their teammates out there without their clothes on. And then at the end of that process, they also allowed the suite holders to select from the group of cheerleaders the ones that they wanted to escort them to a party. And they did all this after taking the passports away from their cheerleaders. That was in 2013. It was reported in 2018. And then you can just go back to last year where there was 40 employees. They left because they cited issues with the culture that they had there. We can go back to the mismanagement of Trent Williams' injury, which I know doesn't fit into this theme, but it is also a serious evidence of mismanagement. And then we have this come out. We have this come out yesterday, which is also incredibly embarrassing and disappointing. So I agree with Adam that punishment, taking draft picks or fining them, to me feels empty and irrelevant. But the question I have for him and for anybody else, frankly, is there conversation about Dan Snyder's future and who is actually going to fix this? Because Dan Snyder has demonstrated that he is incapable of fixing this problem, and he may be part of the problem. And Ron Rivera is a football coach. Stop it. If you think that Ron Rivera is going to fix this, he's a football coach.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.